Hey everybody, Dimitri here with Serg Supply, and I'm standing in front of a Transit 148 extended length. This is a full build walkthrough. Let's dig right in. Obviously, this build looks gorgeous. I'm gonna go through every detail with you guys today, but as with every full build walkthrough, I like to start with the floor. Now, this floor is special, and I recommended this floor. This is not our flooring kit. This is from ABC Rig. Shout out to Matt Dunkerley from ABC Rig. Thank you for putting this beautiful thing together. It's our first time installing their floor, and the reason I recommended it is because it has a better R value for insulation. It's got a pre-cut foam bottom, plywood substrate on top, and it does better in cold weather. This van is going to be living in Montana, so it's going to be imperative for everything here to be a little bit more weatherproof. Now, aside from just the flooring kit, we also purchased the ABC Rig step extension and the covers for the front and the rear. Overall, quality-wise, I'm very impressed. I like this thing a lot. It fit like a glove. We didn't really have to trim much except for a little bit for wiring. And then the top surface here, as with nearly every build I feel like we've ever done, we've got Onyx Lonseal Flex 2. This is that black lawn coin with a little bit of speckle in it, so if you track dirt inside it, it's a lot harder to see. Now that we're done talking about the floor, let's move on to some walls. You guys have seen white walls in plenty of our builds. This is nothing new, but this is our standard wall panel kit with stainless steel hardware. And we have some bunk windows installed. There is a matching set of bunk windows in the rear, and then there's another bunk window in the front. So there are no full-size windows anywhere in this van except for the rear doors. And a lot of the reason for this was privacy, maybe heat dissipation. If you have a larger surface area of glass, it tends to track in more heat. And one other side note was we did actually get this vehicle tinted, or the tint rather is ceramic. It reflects, I think, like 93% of the heat that passes through the glass otherwise, and it came out real good. We kind of have like a standard height for these bunk windows. If you're wondering where we got the bunk windows, we get these from the Van Mart, Van Speed. They're just about the only bunk windows I use aside from Vantech that don't leak, so I'm a big fan of these guys. And as far as outlets, switches, this is really the first build we've done a three-way dimmer on. We typically don't accept three-way dimmer builds, but this customer was imperative about having the three-way dimmer. I think it turned out pretty well. There's nothing special to go into there, but as far as outlets are concerned, we have 2 outlets on the driver's side up front, 2 outlets on the passenger side, and then we have some auxiliary outlets in the back. Okay, now that we've covered walls, ceiling. This is pre-finished maple. It's our standard ceiling panel kit. Note to any folks who are building out their Transit, this is fitted with the Go Code trim kit for the front and the rear. The rear is kind of an extra thing. It looks real nice and pretty. The front, I would say, is necessary for your Transit build. Otherwise, you have a lot of geometry you have to overcome with the ceiling, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. If you are not familiar with the ceiling kits, there are aluminum furring strips that come with this kit, and these all screw into plus nuts or rivet nuts so that you can remove anything if you need to service it later. Now, what are these 2 big ugly things? This is a max air fan in the front, and this is an air conditioner in the back. We used to do a lot of 12 volt, 24 volt, 48 volt air conditioners, but for this build, we opted with something that can move a lot more air and a lot colder air a lot faster. For that reason, we went with the Dometic Penguin 2, which at the time of this video, if you're watching, it may be called the Fresh Jet now. It all generally works the same, but it's a pretty efficient air conditioning unit that pushes out a ton of air, and more importantly, it's ultra reliable. So for folks who have higher needs for cooling, hot summer months, this is the way to go. Side note, you can also purchase this with a heat pump, so you don't need to do a gas or diesel heater. And then of course, the logic behind this is all the hot air that's coming into the front's getting sucked out of that fan, and the air conditioning is blowing all that cold air back in, either onto the bed or in the cab or what have you. Let's address the big, beautiful elephant in the room. This is a new cabinet we have not yet released. Probably by the time you're watching this, we have released it. This is a full height kitchen cabinet. This is the smallest option of refrigerator we will offer with this. This is the Dometic NRX 130, which is about the same size as your Isotherm DR 130. Comes with a fridge and a freezer. and we have a microwave installed. Now there's gonna be some options for this. There's also like a 5-in-1 air fryer, microwave, oven, toaster thing that we're gonna offer here as well. And this unit will be available for sprinters, transits, and ProMasters. The best part about this thing is that it's built in 2 halves. So you don't have to worry about lugging this big ugly assembly in here. You install the bottom half first, you carry the front or the top half in, you lift it, you slide it on, they shoot together, they join together, and then they mount using existing factory holes and rib nuts all throughout the walls. The microwave we have on here is a very nice microwave through Rec Pro. I already talked about the fridge, and as with any of our refrigerators, ventilation is key here. So anytime that fridge is on, this air plate fan is pulling hot air out of this unit so that it doesn't have to work as hard to stay cool. Now, pan the camera down real quick. Let me show you what this is. Depending on the size of fridge you choose upon checkout, you're gonna get different size cabinets down here, but this is a great place to store some plates, pots, pans, maybe the uglier bits you don't want sitting around. Now go all the way back up. Here's another storage spot for your kitchen appliances, kitchenware. And in case this cabinet looks a little deeper to you, just for this build, this cabinet was deeper. For the online products, it's gonna be quite a bit shallower. So this guy is sitting well at 24 inches. You can expect this to be somewhere a little less, maybe 22 inches. But again, that depends on the refrigerator you choose. It kind of dictates everything. Let's talk a little bit about what you can't see, and that's gonna be insulation. People ask all the time, do you use Havelock? Do you use Thinsulate? Neither. Just kidding, we usually use Havelock. I love it a lot. Thinsulate for California builds that don't get anywhere cold, but this has expanding spray-on foam insulation. So this gentleman's son's actually a professional sprayer. He does it, I think, for residential, maybe some commercial, but he sprayed all of these walls before we got in here. Which if you're gonna do that, reach out to me first. I will give you a free resource to show you where not to spray. It's funny now, it wasn't funny at the time, now it's hilarious. They did spray the foam in a bunch of spots that we absolutely could not have it sprayed. So we weren't able to do the factory wiring harness tuck, and that's the reason why this cabinet's a little deeper, because we have so many wires running vertically down here to feed everything, we weren't able to put through the walls. Let's talk about some cabinets. Obviously, they're gorgeous. This is a combination of pre-finished maple and black hex. It's been a very popular combination of materials for us. Pre-finished maple for the cabinet carcasses, let's call them, and black hex for the door. So these are tough and can take a beating. I'm a big fan of it. It's the combination of ultra lightweight with ultra tough. And let me show you a little bit about these guys. So these are standard cabinets. If you order these online, this is how they arrive. Some things that you may not see online is we've added some channel cuts to drop weight. And then the bottoms and the backings, these covers are also included with the cabinet. So everything is encapsulated and you've got this nice, beautiful finished cabinet. And in the front here, we have standard depth square. And if you pan to the left here, these back cabinets are actually our arrow cabinets. They are slanted back to save some space and maybe reduce some unintentional bunkery of the head. And this is a 60-inch piece that spans to the back of the van. It's got a nice, beautiful angle on it. And the cool thing about the arrow cabinets is that if you purchase our arrow cabinets, it's in the last door I can't reach, there is a fixed shelf actually mounted in a lot of these arrow cabinets, so you kind of have split storage. Everything else about them is the same. They do come with 12-volt LED puck lights, and if I didn't already say it a billion times, all of our cabinetry fits the same factory holes that your ceiling and your walls use to mount. So to install these, all we did was pull out some of these shorter screws, swap out for longer ones with washers, put them right back in, and everything was nice and dapper. Let's talk a little bit about this bad boy. Can you guess what it is? It's a kitchen. You guessed right. This is one of our standard kitchen units, but instead of adding a refrigerator and a sink, we just did a drawer bank because obviously refrigerator lives here now. Water system, you ask? Very simple. It is 2 jerry cans in a tray. We have a freshwater jerry can and a gray water jerry can. It is the easiest way ever to gauge your water use because when you're out of fresh water, the gray water is obviously full. It's time to dump it and start over. Now, he can expand this and do undermount or wheel well mount water tanks at any time, but they didn't particularly see a need to use that much water. Of course, the sink that's in here is our standard Serg Supply sink. All of these include a matching cutting board that's grain matched to fit. It's really nice. And drawer banks. Let's talk a little bit about these guys. It's a standard 4-drawer stack. Everything that's in here is soft close, the same you'd see in a nice high-end custom home. And of course, you've got the pre-finished Baltic birch drawer boxes. It all ties in nicely. And I guess while we're here, let's talk about this guy right here. This is just a standalone 20-inch bench. There's nothing in here This is just for storage or a nice little hangout spot. We had this empty space and we thought, what's a nice, pretty way to cap it off and make it look good. And now that we're done talking about this side, I'm gonna switch spots with you and we're gonna talk about a place for you to drop a little bit of your cargo on the road. All right, folks, so here we are. I'm on the cassette toilet box, as we like to call it. This guy holds the standard, at least standard for us, Thetford porta potty. There's nothing complicated about this toilet. It works when you need to. This is still sealed, so it's not gonna work for me in this demo, but this is your kind of go-to, I don't wanna go outside and pee in the woods toilet. Maybe not the greatest for number twos, it's really great for number ones, but I found that you can actually get bags that fit underneath the seat in here that'll work great for number twos. And if you need a flush, you do your business, you pull the hatch down, you pull the flush, and you're done, and then you can pump some of that sweet, fresh nectar back in there so it doesn't stink up your entire van. And that's about it for the toilet. There's nothing crazy going on here. Let's talk about something more exciting. We're gonna move on to the bed and the power system now. We've gotten really damn good at making power systems here, and we've sharpened our tools. And this is just about one of the nicest power systems I've ever put together. And I'm telling you, every single time we get a little bit better, it gets a little bit cleaner, and we standardize things. And I think this is the magnum opus, if I said that correctly. This is my second language, don't judge me if I said it wrong. But this is our standard, let's call it 800 amp hour power system. Now this is 400 amp hours at 24 volts. Everything we do is 24 volts now, and it's running a big boy 5,000 volt amp or 5,000 watt inverter from Victron. The reason we went with a bigger inverter was because we're running an air conditioning unit, a microwave, and we want the ability to run a bunch of stuff through the outlets. We may want to run Starlink or an induction stovetop or what have you. So we have a lot of power to pull from, and we have a pretty decently sized battery bank to pull from as well. It looks real clean, real tidy, and everything's on VRM. So if our customer has problems anywhere in the world, so long as they are connected to internet, we are there, we're ready to help. If you're curious on how this thing is getting powered, there are 3 main sources. Usually we do a 30 amp underneath the bumper here. Let's come on over to this side. This is a little different. Sorry, 15 amp under the bumper. We actually did a 30 amp. So we're switching over to doing 30 amp as a standard because a lot of RV parks aren't going to have the 15 amp unless you really get the right spot, but they have 30 amp readily accessible. So there's just a dongle, for lack of a better word, that we provide that you can plug in. And so the end user on the screen can change their input current from 15 to 30 depending on where they're charging. That's what we do for sure. Other charging sources, actually, number one is DC-DC. We have the new Orion 1400 XS. That is charging straight from the CCP2. This Transit did come with the builder package. So the customer who provided this van, thank you for paying extra for that builder package. It was so easy to just snap right into it and not have to worry about it. We can get up to 50 amps out of that bad boy. It doesn't run too hot and it's a really tiny unit. So I'm thrilled with that. And for solar, we have 200 watts up top right now on the roof. It's just basically there to trickle charge the system and keep things from getting wonky. It's a van sitting around not being used for a while. So 3 sources of power, big old battery bank, lots of potential. And as far as price, it wasn't anything too crazy compared to other Victron systems out there. But again, you get what you pay for. And at the end of the day, this is a gorgeous power system that's gonna do way more than he can need in this vehicle. And let's talk about these boxes. This is actually the universal bed system. This isn't a Murphy like you've seen in the last few videos. This is just our boilerplate, plain Jane universal bed system, which means this is fixed. This isn't gonna move. And this is a big bed. This is over 72 inches long. So I think they're getting 78 inches of sleeping space, front to back, which for 2 people is very nice. Of course, pre-finished maple with black hex. This box, we did actually shallow up a little bit to create a little bit more garage space if they want to throw toys back here. And there's nothing in here currently except for your 30 amp dongle. Aside from that, this bad boy's empty, but it's ready to hold anything you need to take out there. Recovery gear, fire extinguisher, tow ropes, what have you. This thing's ready for an adventure. One of the things we installed in this vehicle that sucked pretty bad was the Van Compass suspension kit for the Transit. This came with the front coil springs, a few brackets, nuts, bolts, and then in the back it was a leaf pack with their rear struts. If you've installed this kit before as a builder, you know this sucks. It's not fun. If you're a DIYer and you think you want to tackle this, feel free, but word of warning, this will be the worst suspension kit you'll ever install, unless you do a lot of work with coilovers and stuff. So for the average Joe, this is gonna be kind of miserable. I'll tell you why. 2 reasons. Number 1, you have to remove the actual coil spring from the front, which means you gotta get coil compressors, and you have to enter yourself as a contestant for the next Darwin Award for a brief moment. It's not safe and it's not fun. So if you're on the edge, have a professional builder do it. Pay the money. You might pay $1 to $2 grand, but it'll be worth it, and you'll have the peace of mind knowing it was done right. The second reason it really sucked was getting the strut off on this side in particular is a bit of a nightmare. You have to remove some of the glove box, and then all of those bolts are underneath like a rug, and none of it's accessible, and it's covered with wiring harnesses that you can't unplug. It sucks. It's really not fun, but it made a big difference for this vehicle as far as suspension is concerned. In the back, of course, we replaced the leaf packs, excuse me. Thank God he didn't have a rear sway bar. If you have a rear sway bar, you got to get extensions, and it's a different kind of a headache, but 100% worth it if you're riding heavy. Now, this van is actually not heavy enough to really need this. It's going to benefit from it, but we're about 1,000 pounds underneath the weight in which I would say it's necessary to get a kit like this. So if you're on the fence, you think you're gonna really load this thing, get it heavier, I would do it. Aside from Van Compass, there's also Agile Off-Road that makes a great kit for this. Whichever way you go, it's not gonna be fun. So if you're kind of on the fence, have a professional do it, or have us do it. We're happy to do it here at our shop. But in any case, let's move on to some of the other exterior stuff. I don't have a single ladder in this damn shop, so I can't show you what the rack looks like, but it looks good. This is a Flatline Vanco rack. It's a standard rack, not the Low Pro, for the Transit 148 extended length. It wasn't too bad to assemble. I actually installed it on the roof. I'd say the only bummer thing about Transits is that you need to lap seal where you're mounting the roof rack. With some of the other ones, you just have rails, you go in, you're done. It's not a big deal. But there's a ton of space up there. I mentioned we have 200 watts of solar, but we have a lot more real estate to put a lot more solar, and ultimately it breaks up the wind with that nice front fairing, so that it's not so damn loud on the road. So I'm pretty happy with the rack. As far as racks go, I'd say it's standard, it's decent quality, it's aluminum, it's lighter weight. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This just about wraps up this full build walkthrough. Now, before I close out, I want to talk about one quick thing, and that's why Transit. What are my thoughts on Transit? I will say this 1,000 times over. I'm a huge fan of Transit. We're actually selling our current shop build, our Sprinter, because I'm so in love with the Transit body, wheelbase, the engine, the drivetrain. One of the biggest distinguishing factors between a Transit build and a Sprinter build is when our Sprinter build is fully built out and going uphill, we are going to be very lucky to go faster than 70 miles an hour. Whereas this Transit feels the exact same, completely empty, as it does fully loaded out, and I could probably tow a trailer with it and not really feel a difference. So the engine, although it's gasoline and it certainly has its downsides, I think is a lot more reliable and a lot more powerful than the Sprinter 4-cylinder high output turbo diesel ever could be. Now, you can fight me on this, you can trash me in the comments. It's just my opinion, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm not a diesel mechanic, but I will say from my own experience that whole DPF system with the DEF fluid has been a bit of a nightmare with Sprinters. They're still great vans, you just have to be a little bit more attentive to them and take a lot better care of them, and then maintenance on them can be expensive, whereas with the Fords, there's dealerships everywhere, parts are a lot more readily available, and overall, I think you're gonna have a good experience. Unless you bought a Trail, you're gonna have a good experience with the Transit. So now that I've addressed the Transit Sprinter thing, I want to thank you one more time to the couple who purchased this vehicle and entrusted us as stewards of their money and their time and their chassis to build something beautiful. Thank you so much for supporting our business. And a thank you to you guys for viewing the videos and actually making them worth filming. This has been a lot of fun, and a lot of the improvements that come through Serg Supply come from you guys. As a matter of fact, you know who you are. Haven't left me alone about that damn fridge microwave cabinet, and here it is. It's done. We're producing it. We're ready to sell it to everybody. So thank you for your innovative ideas and giving us a platform and a place to execute them and make them something we can put out there to benefit everybody in the van space. So thanks for watching the video. Leave a like, comment, join our Facebook group if you got your own transit build you want to share. We appreciate you. Cheers and happy building.